is magic. Not just everything magic, although everything magic is everything magic.
Absolutely.
So, what would you like to theme the audio file for tonight's show then, Angie?
The iceberg. I'm not talking about lettuce.
I know a joke about an iceberg.
Do you? Go on then.
It's my favourite. It's my favourite dad joke.
Go on then.
So it's the iceberg, right? Okay. Do you want me to do it before or after we start?
No, I want the joke included, please.
all right then. Okay, hang on. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, and I'm going to go straight to Andy with a joke.
Okay. How do you think the unthinkable?
I don't know.
With an iceberg.
I like that.
But they said it could never be seen, and perhaps it wasn't. Perhaps it was the Olympia.
Interesting.
It's a very clever joke. It's how do you think the unthinkable with an iceberg?
Yes.
You got to think about the list.
Yes.
Is the thing.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Okay, well, hi folks, wherever you are, wherever you're listening, whether you're listening live or on the replay, I salute you. Okay, so I'm Angie, in case you didn't know that. So, drum roll please. The iceberg. So I'm not going to be talking about lettuce. I don't actually like iceberg lettuce, but that's another story. So the iceberg as a concept, we all know that, yeah, it's not new by any stretch of the imagination. You know, what you see at the top of the iceberg isn't all the iceberg. Yeah, there's stuff going on underneath. So we know that. Yeah, I don't need to tell you all about that. But what we can do is we can use it in different areas of this realm. Yeah. So, you know, from what is occurring like out there, out there in the weirdness, yeah, to our own personal experiences. So you could look at it like a blueprint. Yeah, a transparent blueprint that you can put over things, yeah, which kind of help to explain, I think, what is actually going on isn't what's on the surface. It's actually what's going on underneath that we can kind of tap into, if you like, yeah. So, yeah, what do I mean? What do I mean about the iceberg? So if you think of it, I've got a few examples. So if you think about the physical body, yeah. So my take, when you get like a boil, for example, come up on your skin, yeah, that's something trying to get out. Yeah, literally, it's trying to break free. Yeah, because a boil is usually quite raised, very hot. It hurts, it's painful, yeah, but it's full of, I used this word yesterday, detritus. I do like that word. It's full of the gunk, yeah, all the rubbish. So when something appears like that in the physical body, from my own personal experience and just how energy generally works, yeah, that's usually the last stop before it leaves, yeah, completely, or sometimes there's remnants that, you know, have to be flushed through as well. So it's something coming out of the physical body, which is the last stop for the energy that wants to exit, yeah. So bear that in mind, yeah. Keep that in the front of your mind. So the boil in this particular example, I know it's not a very nice one, but it's, you know, if not a boil, then at least a spot, yeah, that comes up. So that is the tip of the iceberg, yeah. It is the culmination of all the dead stuff, all the dense stuff. Yeah, you see where I'm going. You can kind of see where I'm going with this already. Yeah. Or the stuff which has been hidden underneath. So if you're looking at things like skin eruptions on from an energetic level, if you go with what Louise L. Hay would kind of put forward as the catalyst, maybe, no, as the underlying reason for, you know, something to erupt through your skin, it's going to be something that you've buried, usually for a long time. Yeah. And something would have triggered that, and that could be absolutely anything. So then, you know, it gets shaken loose, if you like, which is what, you know, the energies that we're experiencing at this moment in time. That's what that's doing. So keep that in the front of your mind as well. Yeah. So all this stuff that has been underneath begins to surface. Now, some of you know, because I have spoken about this before, not a lot, because I don't tend to advertise, you know, all of our magical workings. But in 2020, Ian did put a spell on our blackboard in the kitchen, which is the hearth, which is where alchemy happens. Yeah. Magical place to do spell work. And that was for, you know, for all these institutions, all these horrible, nefarious thought form institutions to become transparent. And it's been gradually adding names to the list on that board, and situations out there, yeah, in crazy land. And what are we seeing right now? We're seeing things coming to the surface. Are we seeing more transparency? I think transparency is pushing through, whether they like it or not. It's kind of what it looks like to me. So yeah, when this stuff comes up, yeah, which has been underneath, and it creates a boil or a spot or whatever it is, yeah. The question I'm going to ask is, turn the page. Hang on, that doesn't make sense. When we are, I can't even write English at the moment. When we experience a pain or a boil, whatever it is, yeah, is that really the ending of the journey of that energy, rather than the beginning of a dis-ease? So, you know, we have explored this, with Ian's health, the energetics of what moves through and comes out of the physical body, or the so-called symptom, yeah, that happens. So if this is actually the ending of a journey, then there are techniques you can use that allow you to open the door so that can leave, because it wants to leave. It doesn't want to stay. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be happy being contained in this physical vessel. Yeah. So, and this is where the occult thing comes in, the labeling of things. Yeah. If any of you know me very well, I don't like to label stuff, because then it's a spell. Yeah, it is a spell. So if it's the ending of something, of that energy journey, yeah, coming out, then it's not the beginning of what people call dis-ease. Because what does that then do? It makes you, it's like you're holding on to the thing that's trying to leave. And my most recent example is the thing around my throat. All the activity I've had around my throat has been quite interesting to experience, actually. But if I'd have held on to that and gone, oh no, you know, this is blah blah, or it's blah blah, or you know, it's something else, and I'd grabbed hold of that tightly and flown on its coattails. Yeah, that could have taken me down some very dark paths indeed. But I suppose because I recognize that it's something trying to, and literally it felt at one point like something was literally trying to escape out of my throat, like the alien, yeah, out of John Hurt's chest, you know. If you can recognize that that is actually an energy trying to leave because it doesn't want to stay, yeah, in your being anymore because it doesn't actually belong there. Don't forget that. You know, holding on to it, trying to find out what it is, if you like, or labeling it, all those things that we are told. So we are told that we have to do that, yeah, to know what it is, so that the medical people can, you know, I don't know, heal you. The only thing that actually heals you is your own being. If you break a bone, doctors don't heal a broken bone. They might reset it, yeah, which is, I agree, that's valid, yeah, because if it grows back in an awkward way, that's going to cause a lot of problems. But you know, tractioning it back into place so it can heal properly, so it can be what it was before, but stronger. Yeah. The body does the rest. The body does the rest. The body knows what to do. Yeah. This intelligent thing that we are sitting in, or you could even argue that it's sitting in us, which I quite like that concept. So it's a bit like the idea. Oh, so I'm going off on a weak tangent here. It's a bit like the idea of the Merkaba. So with the Merkaba, which is your light body, it's your space vessel, if you like, and the physical being sits inside that. It's suspended inside that, which makes more sense to me, because why would an expanded being? And I have kind of explored that idea of compressing ourselves right down into this tiny little human. Yeah. I mean, maybe there is a bit of one and a bit of the other, but it makes more sense, doesn't it? That the physical being would sit in this vast, energetic spaceship, if you like. Anyway, yes. So, whoops, I just knocked all my papers on the floor. Never mind. So yeah, I would suggest, I'm putting it out there, that when something erupts through the skin, that is the end of that journey, of that energy, rather than the beginning of something. So if we take that, yeah, and just mold that a little bit, yeah. So I'm pretty sure we all know, yeah, that this realm is fractal in nature, yeah. So as above, so below, as within, so without, yeah. So you know how a tree is formed is how our lungs are formed, you know, in this physical realm. Yeah, and all those kinds of, it's all fractal in nature. Yeah. So if we can recognize how energy moves through this physical body, we can extrapolate that out into the rest of the realm. Yeah. Now, nature, and you probably know this as well, nature is our biggest teacher. She is the only teacher, I would say, because you don't really want to mess with her, do you? She tells you everything you need to know about the cycles or the spirals, yeah, the inhale and the exhale of everything. So my advice is listen well to your teacher, because she'll tell you everything that you need to know. So we can take anything, for example, we take anything that we can see growing outside, yeah. So when we see the top of a plant, or the tree that is above ground, yeah, it's not just that thing above ground, yeah. There's an awful lot. There's probably more happening under the ground than there is above the ground. And we now know that there is a network that trees and fungi have. I'm not sure if it's part of the same network or if they're different networks that talk to each other. I'm not entirely sure. But they communicate. They communicate with each other. So that's an awful lot that's going on underneath that we don't see up here. Yeah. Pardon me. So let me just get to my notes. Yeah, so there's a lot going on under the surface for the tree or the flower or the shrub before it can even appear above the ground. There's a lot that happens, tip of the iceberg, and what is underneath the water. Yeah. So let's take that concept, that transparency blueprint. Yeah. And this also ties into the sap rising energies. So we're in the waning stage of that now until we get to the dark moon, which is the day before. It's the 19th of this month. And then we're into so we have the dark moon, we have Ostara, and then we have the new budding trees moon. Yeah. So in this particular energy of the waning energy of the sap rising, that's a little bit of an exhale, yeah, before it then starts to inhale again. So there's, again, it's that fractal thing, yeah. So, from the tiniest cell in your body, and we used to teach this in our yoga classes, from the smallest cell in your body, which breathes in and out, to the whole cosmos, which breathes in and out, yeah, everything is inhaling and exhaling, expanding and contracting. So this energy, the sap rising energy, is just coming to the still point of the dark moon through the exhale. So there's a slight contraction before we then get the blossom on the trees, for example. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. So I've gone off on a tangent. What's my notes talking about? So yeah, so if we take this concept to what is happening out there, yeah, in the outside realm, yeah, in terms of all the things that are being presented as, some people call it chaos, some people call it war, some call it institutions breaking down. We have to ask the question, what is going on under the tip of that iceberg? Yeah. What is going on under there for these events to be witnessed or seen by us? Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting question. For example, well, just today we found out that our local council is undergoing a reorganization. Now, I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if they're actually doing anything. I have no idea. But something must have happened underneath that to create the realm experience of Dartford Borough Council is undergoing a reorganization. Blimey. That's I would say that's quite something, actually. So there'll always be something under what is seen at the top. So one of the other things that I know has come up recently, that Val shared on Tuesday, is there's a court case going on around 2020, the con, and all the fallout which happened around that. So we know that system that claims to be of justice could go either way. We know that. We know that's what they do. But what I find really interesting is what was underneath the top, the tip of that iceberg, for that to even have come to the surface. For that to have come to the surface and not be censored either, which I find quite interesting. There's obviously been something going on underneath there that has brought that up, into you could say, the collective consciousness, So the question is, what is going on under the tip of that iceberg for these events to be witnessed by us? So when I say witnessing, I'm not talking about witnessing in the sense of giving evidence, nothing like that. What I'm talking about is, it doesn't even mean you need to look at that stuff if you don't want to, without getting pulled in, but it's rather being aware that there is stuff, something or some things coming to the surface, into the air, we know oxygen is a great, if something is in a high oxygen environment, then dense things cannot exist. That's why, for example, we take hydrogen peroxide when we need to, because it oxygenates the whole body. That's why you can do something like breath of fire, Kundalini breathing, and it purges anything out of your whole being. It's a really nice breath technique that doesn't just clear the physical body, it clears your aura as well, which is quite phenomenal. So, when this stuff comes up, it comes up into the air, number one. It also comes up into the light. So if it's been buried for a long time and it's coming up into the light, well, that's fire energy right there. So this is transformation energy, which is the realm of discordia, I have to say. This is the energy of discordia. She mops up all the dross and then creates anew with it, but like Kali as well. It's Kali energy as well. Taking the chaos and molding it into something amazingly creative. So it's let me get this right. Creative order from disorder, as opposed to destructive order from disorder, which is what the institutions function on. Theirs is not expansive and creative. Theirs is implosive and restrictive. And it has to be, because that's the nature of how those humongous thought form institutions work. Because they are not in any way, shape or form connected to any kind of divine source energy at all. They have to feed off of beings of light, which is us lot. So into the end, to light to be transformed. So it's discordia energy. So my other example of that, I watch amongst all the rug cleaning videos and the videos on crimes, and what else do I watch? All kinds of manners of things. But I like watching farrier videos. So those amazing people that turn, sometimes I saw a farrier once turn barbed wire into a horseshoe. I mean, that's pure alchemy right there. So I watch a lot of farrier videos. So I have horses as well. They're amazing. So in the horse world, sometimes a horse will get an infection in their feet, which is called thrush. Now, this isn't thrush, but by the other name, we by the other definition that we know thrush as, yeah, ladies. This is a different type. It's an, let me get this right, anaerobic bacteria. Yeah. So when they're treating a horse's foot, if it has this bacterial infection, the only way they can cure it is by opening where that is, like scraping it away and opening it up to the air and to the light. Isn't that amazing? So it's, these things are found everywhere. They're found everywhere. Yeah. So I would definitely see this. So this idea of whatever these things are coming to the surface to be transformed. Yeah. So I know you hear a lot of people talking about this stuff, but I can only really go by my own experiences and what I observe in nature. Yeah. So I would see, being able to kind of see things that way, if that makes sense. I would say it's an expanded awareness of the remnants of the dense realms. So I don't think we need to know what those dense realms are, when, a lot of people go down rabbit holes on that. I don't think we need to know. We can certainly observe that those things, like the boil that comes up on the skin, or like the anaerobic bacteria that is in a horse's hoof that dies when it gets exposed to the air and the light. Yeah. We can see this stuff, but if we can extrapolate that and kind of recognize that all that stuff that's going on out there that looks scary. So it looks very scary. It's very loud and it's very noisy. And it has to be scary, and it has to be loud and noisy to get your attention. Yeah. It has to be. All right. So as we're seeing all this stuff play out on the stage, because that's what it is a show. Yeah. What we are actually seeing are the remnants of the dense realms. So I called that out. That was back in 2024, early 2024. When and I did actually do a show about it, about being the ambassador of the void. So we, I don't know, have we been experiencing more since I did that? Maybe. I know when you call out, and it's in all the great movies, when you call out the darkness for what it is, it doesn't like it. And it screams and it wails and screams some more before it eventually goes and gets transformed. So yeah, this stuff is coming up, into the light, and we'll get into why in a minute. But there's no choice. It has no choice. We have no choice but to walk through this, and unless you want to choose the physical death ascension experience, I actually want to experience the actual physical body ascension experience if I can. I want to be there for that, because that's going to be flipping, well, magic. Anyway, so is this so yeah, there is no choice for this stuff to come to the surface, because the consciousness of this realm, pardon me, as it builds more of a foundation on love consciousness, you could call it unconditional love, you could call it universe, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Those dense remnants cannot exist there, just like the anaerobic bacteria that they call thrush in a horse's hoof, when it's exposed to the air and the light, it cannot exist anymore. Just like if you're using some kind of oxygen therapy, whether that's being in a barometric chamber or using hydrogen peroxide or using Kundalini breathing to raise the oxygen levels in your blood, parasites cannot live there. It's impossible. Yeah. So that's how we know that they can't exist as we continue to do. We've termed it this year true alignment, yeah, which is lovely. You know, it's basically taking off all the muck, yeah, that has been covering up who you truly are, yeah. So yeah, these dense remnants are transmuted. They are alchemized by the light, yeah, and by the air, which is the oxygen, yeah. But essentially, that process, it actually involves all the elementals. Fire is pretty obvious, yeah. That's the light, the sun, yeah. Air is the oxygen, but it could also be the ash that is formed when something burns, yeah. So it's not disappeared, it's transformed, like they used to set fire to the fields, the stubbled fields, yeah. And what that does is it creates, it like accelerates new growth. That's kind of how I would see that. Water washes it away, and where does it wash it back to? The earth, which is, you know, the other two elementals. So some of the other things at the tip of this iceberg, because they're not all bad things. It's not all chaos and it's not all craziness going on out there. Yes, you might have to look a bit closer to find those things that are more expanded, but that's because they don't shout and bite and scratch and scream. Yeah, they're very quiet. A bit like, so I talked about that court case. Thank you, Val, for sharing that with me. That was quite interesting, actually. And as I said, you know, that the system that is being used is a very old system. It's kind of broken system, but it's the only system they've got to kind of bring that to the surface. Yeah. You know, that could go either way, because we know these things aren't always pure. Yeah. But what I find amazing, there's no censorship going on with that. I find that quite interesting. And you could say that this is a major move forward into expansion, because it's actually, I think the idea of it, if you like, what's been going on under the surface is this idea of responsibility. You know, people actually taking responsibility for the things they did in that time, because there's been none. And in fact, you know, a lot of these pharma companies, they were free of that, which I find quite amazing. But we've seen it in other ways as well. So little tiny thing, yeah. So when they mow the greens around here, they usually don't litter pick before they do that. So they basically mow all the rubbish as well, and that could be, you know, drink cans, which is dangerous when they're mown up by a big mower. You know, just general rubbish. You know, it could be anything, dog poo, you name it, they mow over it. And we've been saying for years, years and years and years, moaning about it. About, you know, why don't they just, it's easy, just litter pick before you mow. And then there's a lot less stuff, because they don't even clean it up after they've mown over it anyway. So standing there the other day by the window, and I kept looking out the window, and Ian's trying to talk to me, and I'm like, hang on, what's going on? He's like, what is it? What's going on out there? I said, I can't believe my eyes. Two, sit on mower council guys are doing a litter pick before they mowed the grass. I could not believe my eyes. Massive change, because they've never done that ever. It's been a bone of contention, not just for us, for other people as well. And I find it really interesting that we've seen that shift now. Why now? Yeah. We're also seeing stuff happening with our marshes, which is just down the road. We don't quite know, because they're saying a lot of things, yeah, but then that's, what's bubbled to the surface, where they're saying a lot of the right things. So we'll see how that unfolds. But already it's looking positive, yeah. So there are these positive things that are bubbling up, definitely. And I'm going to talk a little bit on the end about another one, which is actually, I think, is the biggest one of all. And it's funny. So while I was writing my notes this afternoon, I actually wrote, a thought just struck me. So as I'm writing my notes, I got a big boof in my head, yeah. So us humans, yeah, as we're called. Who called us that anyway? We, as this physical incarnation of spirit, so we are an incarnation of spirit, yeah, we are spirit in a vessel, yeah. We are the tip of the iceberg. Are you following me? Yeah. There is a much bigger picture going on here. The spirit world. I mean, I don't know if people bump into each other in spirit world. I don't know. There'd be an awful lot of them, wouldn't there? An awful lot of them. So us in this physical incarnation are the tip of the iceberg. I had a bit of a moment when when I realised that. So I'm going to say one more thing, which is around this idea of spirit, yeah, and then I'm going to end the lecture. So I think the biggest thing that I'm experiencing is it's a more consistent and a stronger connection to spirit, the spirit world, whatever you want to call that, yeah, than I ever thought I would ever be capable of. I always went to Ian. Ian's the medium. Ian's the one that has connection to spirit. I don't. That was always my belief. Even when I was, like connecting with deity, I would always think, oh, well, it's just my imagination, having that experience. It's not real. Yes, I did. I thought that. And it took our doggy, our Smurf, to pass, to transform, if you like, Transformers, doggies in disguise. Anyway, I don't know where that came from. Probably came from Smurf, actually. He used to enjoy me singing to him. So it took that to make me realise, actually, no, I have a connection all of my own. It doesn't look like Ian's connection to spirit, because it's always, as he says, the thumbprint, yeah, it's going to be unique. How you connect with spirit, it's going to be unique to you, yeah. I don't necessarily see spirit as a person in the room with me. Ian does, and I envy that. I have spirit envy. I smell them, I hear them, they shout very loudly in my ear, and I get told. I always know when it's spirit because they tell me and it's like you compelled to say, all right, okay, I'll just do that then. Yeah. So I think for me that, this whole thing that I've been talking about, this iceberg, I think for me the biggest thing that I am seeing underneath the tip of the iceberg is, recognizing and really, really nurturing that connection to spirit. And I'd just like to say to all my fans out there, to my rat fans, sorry, tangent again. I just want to thank everyone and anything, especially our Smurf, because it took him passing. And I found out today he's not over the Rainbow Bridge. He's actually with my mum, and he is with a child that didn't touch the earth. So he's in a different place to where I thought he was, which is interesting. So I just want to thank anyone, everyone, and anything and everything that has, been a part of that. Because to me, that's expansion. It's like your perception is expanding to the absolute furthest reaches of your being. Yeah. Because if we are a physical vessel inside of this Merkaba, whatever you want to call it, spirit bubble, you can call it that if you like. That's quite cool, actually. Because spirit bubble is all about balance, isn't it? That what that tells you is that your perceptions are expanding. So that would include the realm that you actually exist in, even when you're in a physical body. So I think I've waffled way too much. So I'm going to open it up, guys. I'm going to open it up and see what you think about what I've been waffling about.
Well, you mentioned rap, so I'll read you my first rap song I ever wrote after talking to a rapper.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Smoke's going here. Anyway, it's called "Come Get That," and I wrote it the 12th of the 8th month in 2025. Time again for a smoke. Let's hope we don't choke. Come give me a spark in the light of the dark. In the warmth of the cold, come outside me bold. Venture out for your break or some totes we will take. Hey, don't put on the brakes. Get out there, Kate and Jake, and we'll puff a few bowls. It never gets old. Now bring that lighter you got, that torch one you bought. It works mighty fine, and then we'll go dine. Here's the chorus. I'll pass it around here and bring it to me, and we'll smoke and we'll toke and we'll be filled with glee. There you go.
Wow. Thank you, Kevin. Very cool.
Oh. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, really? I came off my speaker and I thought I'd lost you.
Ah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about, perhaps visible things that are coming to the surface. So there is obviously the stuff like we talked about, with the court case in Amsterdam and stuff. But I think a really good, and this isn't a party political broadcast, I'll try for it not to be. Restore Britain is absolutely bubbling to the surface from somewhere. And bigger than that, I think, is actually people's voices are coming to the surface. They're surfacing because I think for years we've all been too afraid to talk because we get called racists, Nazis, etc., etc., etc. And I think a real physical manifestation of that is all the flags everywhere.
Yes. Yes.
And Dartford's pretty good for that as well, Anne.
Yeah. Flags everywhere.
I know.
It's pretty
I know.
bonkers. I never, in a million years, I never thought that I would ever see that. I have to say.
And I follow on Twitter. There's a I don't know if it's a person or a group. It's called Flagman.
Simple and to the point.
It's escapades around the country. How they go around and put flags up often at night, or if they've been taken down in the day, they'll go and put some more up. And
yeah,
so I think when you talk about something coming to the surface, I think there is definitely a feeling growing in this country of we've had enough of all this shit and we need something different, and we want to be proud of our country, therefore we're going to fly our flags despite the hate that's been,
mm-hmm.
They've been branded as tools of hate. Our national flags have been branded as tools of hate, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I just if I drive anywhere and I see like flags on a roundabout or flags down a road, I get this amazing feeling inside.
It makes me grin. It really does when I see them all. It's just like, wow.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, great. Thank you.
Angie, everything seems topsy-turvy now, even the cards, right? So before the show, I thought, well, I'm going to pull some before and enjoy it. So I pulled the Nine of Pentacles, which is a great card, and then the Nine of Swords, but then the Prince of Wands, and for confirmation, I got the Six of Swords that told me there had to be more to go. So then I thought, well, I'm going to take the Rider-Waite and shuffle it. 4 cards jumped out, 3 together. The first one, much like the second one before, Nine of Swords.
Wow.
And then the same Prince of Wands or Knight of Wands. 3
Wow.
3 of Wands. And then the Sun. But 2 cards quite a time apart that jumped out. These 4 jumped right out.
Wow. That's very cool, Kevin. And then it's ended on the Sun. I mean, you couldn't get much better than that, really. Did anyone have anything else? Anything they wanted to share or comment on?
No, I think that, I'll jump in. I was waiting to see if we was going to get a transmission from the Draxia Galaxy. From Iris.
Cool.
But no. So the one thing that totally agree with both what yourself and Val has just been saying, and Kevin as well. But as human bodies, these physical entities, they are the tip of the iceberg. So the wealth of information is beneath the surface of each entity, that we call human beings or earthlings. And you've got to look within, and I think that's the tragedy of what's been perpetrated upon humanity, is the sucking away from the internal into the external to be manipulated. And that's where the tragedy lies. And so many people resist the thought that it's not in the outside, it's within. And you've got to cut those ties from the outside to find the within.
Absolutely.
So many people struggle with that concept.
And, I have to say, years and years ago, I was one of those people. I didn't believe in anything apart from I was scared of things that I couldn't see, which that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if I was scared of things that I couldn't see, then I must have realized at some point that there was more to what we experience. Do you know what I mean?
Greetings to all. I would like to thank you for this very knowledgeable meeting. And to me, yes, indeed, as it was said, it's very, very important to be yourself, in the sense to go inside yourself, because everything is inside ourselves. And I will tell you honestly, me too. I was looking for exterior satisfaction, and I thought that this is why we are here, to bless us with all kind of not really interesting things, but having the chance to learn, having the chance to interact, having the chance to listen and do my research, I realized actually that I don't want those things anymore. And I start to research myself. I start to comprehend myself, and I start to love myself. So thank you very much for this beautiful meeting.
Thank you, Iris. You're very welcome. So I pulled 3 cards there just to kind of end the transmission on. We got conscious living. Makes sense completely. A starry night, so you've got the cosmic perception of what is actually happening. I think the conscious living card kind of is that cosmic perspective, but in this realm, in this physical realm. And then we have divine timing. So it's all of this, as chaotic as it might look, as crazy as it might seem, and it is like being at a circus. It's like having a ringside seat at the circus. It is timed. And I know people that, some people poo-poo this idea that it's all happening because we're coming more to a foundation of love consciousness. Yeah. And people say, well, if that was the case, then we wouldn't be seeing all this stuff, would we? Well, yeah, we've buried a lot of stuff for a lot of years. And you can't really build a firm foundation of love consciousness on a bog now, can you? You have to drain the swamp.
There's a lot of unpacking to do, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. But I think the more we embrace that, it's like, moving home, yeah, is one of the most stressful things that you can do, yeah. But I mean, I haven't moved home for many years, nearly 20 years now. But when you think about doing it, you're like, oh no, I can't do that. I cannot do that. It's too much. And it is, yeah. But once you start getting into it and you realize, actually, I'm expanding into a new place, yeah. It's quite exciting, actually. Starting something new. So this idea that, we have to kind of go through the eye of the needle, or the sieve, as I like to call it, and as you're being put through the sieve, some things stay behind, fall away, you could say, and the rest of it comes with you. But the stuff that comes with you is only coming with you because it's of this frequency, this cosmic frequency, this conscious living frequency, this frequency of divine timing, yeah. And I think resisting that just causes more problems. Causes way more problems than we actually realize, I think. Speaking from my own personal experience, these past few years, definitely. So yes, I think it's challenging, because it's challenging everything that we thought we knew about everything. But I'd say it's exciting, but it's exciting in a different way to when we look to the outside for our entertainment. Yeah, that's what you were saying there, Iris. when you're focusing out there for, oh, what can I be entertained with next? No, it's not that kind of excitement. This is deeper. This is a knowing. This is that little voice going, and it's not the loud squeaky voice going, you don't want to do that. It's the little voice inside that the more you pay attention to it, the stronger it gets. Yeah. That just says things like, no, you want to get your pendulum out today, Ange. And you go, what? No, you want to get your pendulum out today. And I go, okay, I'll get my pendulum out today. It doesn't scream at you, doesn't shout at you, it doesn't stamp its feet. If you don't listen, it just keeps repeating the same message.
Yeah, I was looking at my cards till the two four sets of four, and I'm going 9, 9, 9, 6 and 3 or 9. So we got 9, 9, 9, 9.
Wow. Endings and beginnings. I love that. That's pretty amazing. What numbers have we got here? I got 59, which breaks down to 14, which is 5. I got 15, which breaks down to 6, and I got 6. 5, 6, 6. Interesting. And what do they all add up to? 65, 70. So the number 7. Well, that's the number of magic. Let me just... where's my thing with all my numbers on it? Hang on, bear with me. Bear with me. Where is it? It's here somewhere. 7. There we go. 7, reflection, introspection. Oh, well, there we go. Reevaluation. 7s are about assessing your true needs and taking actions that support your true needs. Okay. Letting knowledge and wisdom guide you. Well, there we go, folks. That kind of says it all, really, doesn't it? I like that. I like that a lot.
And it was Hermes Day yesterday.
It was indeed, yes. It was indeed. So does anyone have any final words before I say my final words?
Is it DHL Day today?
Is it DHL Day? No, today was Amazon Day, actually. We had an Amazon delivery today.
For anybody that doesn't know, that's listening back live or on the recording, Hermes is a distribution delivery system like DHL or post office.
Yeah.
In the UK.
Yeah, so I suppose final words. I think, the more we can really, and it's that word again, surrender. Not as in surrender your arms, not that kind of put your arms up and go, yeah, okay, I'll do that even though I don't want to. This is a letting go. This is a releasing of the stuff that is not ours, that does not belong to us, which then enables us to actually see this true alignment that we've set the intention for this year. And I think that's an amazing journey to be on. So if you can, do it. That's what I say.
I wasn't sure whether